Right, now that that's out the way, let's get on with the review.
Ow.
Shut it, English! Alright, so like with every movie I've bloody well reviewed, non-spoiler review, everything shown in the trailers I'm gonna discuss. Okay, fantastic, let's get on with it. First things first, I've never played Warcraft 1, 2 or 3 or the World of Warcraft. I've never had any interest in MMORPGs. And this movie is good regardless of that. Look, it's a 2-hour movie, doesn't feel like it by the way, like Civil War didn't feel like that. But even though I've got no experience with Warcraft as a lore or a franchise, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Okay, so I'm gonna break this down, I'm gonna give you the good, I'm gonna give you the bad, and then we'll figure out what goes on from there. Okay? Alright, that's what I like to hear. Like as I said, you do not need to know about the lore to enjoy the movie. I went in knowing next to nothing. The only thing I knew about World of Warcraft was, one, that it was one of the biggest, if not the biggest MMORPGs on the entirety of the planet, and two, the name of the land that World of Warcraft takes place in is called Azeroth. Aside from that, I had no information. But I enjoyed myself anyway. There are a lot of good characters. A lot. Duradand, for example. I loved him. He was a guy that was trying to do what was best for his people and his wife and his child. You know, I enjoyed him. Lothar, he was a guy that was trying to do what was best for his people. At the heart of it, there's just these two blokes that are trying to do what's best for their own people. And I can respect that. There is a very interesting story in this movie, which I'm not going to spoil here, but I will say I had no idea where it was going to go, because, like I said, no experience with the lore whatsoever. I figured, you know, we get the good defeats evil, you know, sort of happy ending stuff. But there's a lot of twists and turns that happen in this movie that sort of go from this one ending that's kind of like, yes, there's still hope for this, and then it goes in the opposite direction. It's like, okay, that's, you know, it's whatever. It's not as bad as I figured it was going to go, considering they were like down up shit creek without a paddle. But still, the bad guys in this movie aren't actually the bad guys. The orcs themselves aren't the bad guys here. They're just trying to do what's best for themselves. They're trying to survive. There are bad guys in this movie, of course. There's this one really nasty orc bastard. I won't go into details, like I said, non-spoiler, but he is very, very nasty. Like, you could just see it in his face. He just has that face of an asshole. He's like, yep, that's our villain for the movie. Okay, moving on with the plot. But the orcs themselves are just trying to do what they think is best for themselves, even if sometimes that's not always the case. And Duradand kind of sees this and he's like, you know, maybe we should try and do something else instead of, you know, coming here and breaking all the humans and the elves and dwarves shite. There's even this little good guy that sort of becomes a bad guy, and there's signs of it. You can see signs of it. So it's very well structured and nicely set up. And now for the bad. Alright, I'll be honest, I don't remember every character's name in this movie. I forgot pretty much 90% of the names of all the characters in this movie, and it's not because their characters are forgettable, oh god no. It's rather the opposite, because you have a lot to learn about the world. They just sort of throw you. It's like you're on a boat and then your friends decide to chuck you into the water. You have no fucking idea what's going on. The movie needs to explain a lot of itself, because this movie is sort of made for fans and it's also made for general moviegoers like myself, and I didn't know what the fuck half this shit was. Alright, so they've got elves and dwarves. Alright, are they nice elves and dwarves? They seem to have a piece of some kind. As someone that's never experienced the lore, it was kind of confusing in some parts. There was stuff that needed a little bit more explaining. And the character names, I remember Duradand and Lothar. That's about it. Everyone else's name, poof, gone from my head, never to be seen again. And it's not, like I said, the characters aren't forgettable. They're very enjoyable characters. But the names themselves are just really weird and hard to remember. Overall, I enjoyed my experience. I'm excited to see if they'll make a sequel of this. I hope they do, because there's a lot of loose ends sort of at the end of the movie, and I want to know, is this and that gonna happen? Am I gonna get the ending that I kind of want? Probably not, considering it's World of Warcraft, and from what I hear, it can be rather fucked up. But I like this movie. I really like this movie. I think this is the best live action video game adaptation we've ever had. Which really isn't saying much, because 99% of them have been shite anyway. I rate this movie 4 out of 5, and I completely recommend it. Okay, are we done with the review? Brilliant, fantastic. Right, now that this is over, I'm gonna have to go ahead and play Warcraft 1, 2 and 3. Because I really want to know what the hell happens in the story. Alright, see you beautiful bastards of the internet.